What's up, everybody? Reed Wallach, host of the Early Read and a Rithmm partner, here to walk you through my pressure run model on the Rithmm app. As you can see here, as I pull up my metrics, spreads continue not do so well, only 43%, but I've really seen a lot of success with totals 34, 18, and 1 for a near 25% ROI. So I'm going to walk you through three totals that my Rithmm model, the pressure run model, has come up with as bets for me. So let's start. Kind of a gross one here as I scroll through some of the bets that are recommended from Rithmm. About the over 40 in Wisconsin Rutgers. I'm a Wisconsin grad. I would not say that this is a defense I'm used to since attending Wisconsin. So I go over to the research tab on Rithmm, and there's so many different type of metrics you could look through here. But one that I really wanted to use here, and why I think this game, I agree with the model saying it's going to go over. Go to tackles for loss, and this is filtered by power conferences only. If you go all the way to the bottom, look at who is outside the top 50 in both. So bottom 20 in both. It's Wisconsin and Rutgers in terms of tackles for loss. These are two teams that would love to run the ball, really run it down their throat. Need both teams to get into 20. It's a near pick'em game. Yeah, I think that both teams could, this could end somewhere in the neighborhood of 23-20, something like that. So over 40, I think, is worthwhile on the Rutgers, Wisconsin over. Let's move on really quick. Let's go back to Friday night. We got Utah State hosting UNLV. And Utah State, the defense looks pretty worse for wear here for the Aggies. Allow 60 to Boise last week. They allow a bunch to Temple the week before that, or the week before their bye week. But I can't really get to this total, and the Rithmm model agrees. We're right here under 64.5. It's projecting right at that number with such a high total, though. The model is projecting a 61% win probability on the under. I think something to keep in mind here is, how about Utah State? I know it's been like a circling room with Spencer Petras coming back, but he has more than half the snaps this year. Go over to QBR for Spencer Petras, the Iowa transfer. It's not great. Let's take off that power conference filter so we get the Mountain West teams in there. QBR got Utah State all the way down here at 88th. UNLV, I know they went to a new quarterback. They just had a high-scoring game on Friday night. A lot of people watched that where they lose to Syracuse. But this UNLV offense, first of all, they're much improved on the defensive side of the ball. They also play at a tempo that's outside the top 100 in terms of seconds per play. So while UNLV as a near 20-point favorite is going to want to run it up, I don't know if there's much of an incentive, and there's going to be enough possessions to get into the 60s like this total needs you to. They need to get into the mid to high 60s to get over this total. UNLV, they have Oregon State on deck. This is a team that has college football playoff aspirations. They pretty much need to run the table to have a chance to get in. That game at Oregon State might be much more impactful here. Obviously, the UNLV quarterback room, much more depleted, much thinner after Matthew Slocum leaves. Malik Williams looks like he might be an upgrade, but you can't afford to get him hurt. I could see this one going under the total. I think with Utah State's struggling quarterback play, I definitely agree with that. Way too high, this total. So I agree with the Rithmm model there. And last up, let's get another G5 game on the board, and that is Texas State, Arkansas State. And we go over to the pressure run model, and you see Texas State, Arkansas State. We're going under 63.5 here. Again, this is simply a play on two defenses that aren't running the ball super effectively. So if this game is kind of going to be at a standstill and while explosive plays can happen, this is a high total to assume that these two can get over 63.5. So you go over really quick to rushing yards. Arkansas State struggled to run the ball all year. And I know it's a pretty difficult schedule, but this Texas State defense has been an absolute bear on the defensive side of the ball. Overall this season, Texas State, this team is checking in to pull up their defensive line numbers. First of all, the rush defense is elite, but if I take off the power conference filter, you'll see, first of all, you got Texas State checking in right around the national average, 63rd in terms of rushing yards. But Arkansas State, we go to them, 120th in rushing yards. So if the team isn't going to be able to sustain drives and keep this Texas State offense off the field, I just struggle to see them doing their part to get over this total on the road as a 2-touchdown underdog. Texas State, 25th in havoc metric. That's passes defended, tackles for loss, all the things that are quote unquote havoc driven. Texas State can really give defenses some harm here. They're 5th in tackles for loss in the country. As I go over to the Rithmm models here, Rithmm stats here, you go all the way to the top. Where's Texas State? They check in right inside the top 22nd, sorry, but second in sacks. This is an elite defense that really gets to the quarterback. I think that this game could be more on the blowout side of things, where Texas State does the scoring. This offense can really go, but the defense is what keeps this game under the total against a pretty subpar Arkansas State offense. So there you go. You got Rutgers over 40. You got Utah State, UNLV under 64.5, and Texas State, Arkansas State under 63. That's a 24.9% ROI pressure run model giving you those totals there. So we'll see you next week with 3 more picks. Enjoy week 7, everybody.